With that down, let's talk about this. According to reports going around, this is StarWarsNewsNet.com, Kathleen Kennedy will be stepping down from Lucasfilm in August. Now, just a little bit of background on this. A little bit ago, I told you that I had gotten from a couple of reliable sources that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be stepping down sometime between the release of the last Indiana Jones movie and the end of that year. And then a couple of other outlets confirmed that they had also gotten that same thing. But guess what happened? End of the year came, and Kathy's still here. So much for that. Now, a number of months ago, Deadline actually reported that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down, and it'll be sometime before the end of this year. And that was from Deadline. And now, the aforementioned Jeff Snyder has reported that it's been decided she's leaving in August. So that kind of backs up what the Deadline report said, but now we've got a more specific timeline saying that she'll be done in August. Now, she responded to this by, kind of dancing around it. Star Wars Newsnet wrote this. Just last week during Star Wars Celebration, Screen Rant asked Kathleen Kennedy about her departure, to which she replied, "I'm not retiring. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere." This is the same line she gave Deadline back in February when news first broke, and of course, it's deliberately misleading. In fact, during that Deadline interview, she confirmed news of her exit would be coming within the year. The report never said Kathleen Kennedy was retiring from filmmaking, but rather that she was stepping down as Lucasfilm president. She's not going anywhere because she'll still be a producer on multiple Star Wars films she's currently developing at the company. That is the best way I could have put the explanation. Basically, she's becoming Catherine O'Hara's character from the studio. Yeah. She's going to be not the boss anymore, but she'll probably still have a shingle on the lot, and she's probably still going to be producing a lot of stuff for them. And that's good, because listen, people, I know I have to bring this up all the time because people get the mistaken impression that I'm some kind of rabid Kathleen Kennedy hater. And I am not, I assure you. I think Kathleen Kennedy, to quote Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of all time, she's the greatest producer Hollywood's ever known. That's what Steven Spielberg says. The greatest filmmaker ever. She has had 8 of her films nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. With Spielberg and without Spielberg. She is one of the greatest producers in the history of the business. But just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be good at another. And she is, like Wayne Gretzky, greatest professional athlete of all time, was not a very good coach. Same game, but it was not a good coach. She's a great producer, but she was not a good studio head. And quite frankly, and I say this all respect, she should have left this position years ago. Years ago. And what do we got? We've got, at best, to be kind, a very mixed bag of Disney Plus shows. A couple of them fantastic, a lot of them awful. And we've had, sorry, one second. I just want to make sure I get this absolutely right. I'll open up my calculator app. Yes, 0 films in 6 years. 0. None.
But it's been 6 years, so it's a number.
It is a number. You're the head of Star Wars. We've had no films in 6 years, and the next one we have coming is just an extension of a TV show. So, look, I'm glad she got to do this Star Wars Celebration. Remember, I told you guys prior to Star Wars Celebration, I said, she'll get her love there. She will. And everybody wrote it, oh no, people hate. I said, a lot of fans may not like her, but Star Wars Celebration is a very friendly event.
Yeah.
And they're very warm. And I told you she's going to go and get her flowers there, and she did. And I'm glad she had that experience. She's been running the company for 10 years now, a little over 10 years. And whether it's August or whether it's December, whatever, I do hope it's August. You know, Rob, we had a conversation before starting about, who are they going to have in place? How long will it take them to get somebody in place? And, you know, the reality is, I think they've known since I first talked about it back around the other Indiana Jones, I think they've known they were paving the way for her departure. Maybe she just stayed on long enough until they could actually find the right person, because I don't think what Star Wars needs right now is an interim head. I think they need to swap her out when they've got their actual replacement, and maybe they do have their replacement now. I don't know who it should be or who it will be. It certainly shouldn't be Dave Filoni. I love Dave, but he's a creative. I don't think he should be it. Plus, I don't think he's done Star Wars a lot of favors in the last couple of years. I think they should just get a great executive in, maybe have a Dave Filoni and a John Favreau as their primary creative people to work under them. I don't know, but I kind of buy this. I think this sounds right. An August departure would be good, and that would tell me they've got a person lined up and ready to go, maybe. I don't know. You hear this story. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, I mean, on one hand, I mean, she's certainly done her bit for King and Country when it comes to what she's done in her career. And, I mean, she was producer on E.T., in 1982.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's really interesting is a great producer provides and facilitates everything that the creatives need, starting with the director, to make a film. And the creatives are the ones that are making these creative decisions. A producer has to manage the creatives so they're not too pie in the sky, keeps them corralled, essentially. It's like herding cats. But a great producer makes sure that all of their creatives are able to function and facilitate. And that is not something to be ever poo-pooed as a job. And she was an in the trenches producer. And that's a lot of that's something that I think a lot of things, what I don't even know what I'm saying. People don't understand that about her. And that's why Steven Spielberg said she's one of the greatest producers of all time. Because if you need someone to facilitate bringing your vision to the screen, and she's worked with the giants, she's worked with people that have a lot of weight to throw around, and that she can manage them is a testament to her whole career. But I think even for somebody who's had a great 40-year plus career, sometimes it's time to hang it up. I mean, she's in her 70s. There's other things she probably wants to do. I mean, she's already
insists she's going to keep producing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see her keep producing. Her and her husband, Frank Marshall, is still active as well. And I think the two of them probably have a lot to do. They might have some passion projects they want to get off the ground. I mean, she produced a movie. She produced Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
And she might want to move away. Like, okay, science fiction and fantasy are great. Maybe there's some historical things she wants to tackle. Maybe there's some issue-oriented films she wants to get made. And she can use her clout to get those made. That's what she wants. She wants to spend the rest of her life making things that, have a real impact in terms of emotionally or something. And I can see that. And why not? That makes sense to me. And it's not like she's been people have rolled out the red carpet and have really enjoyed her time, and her time she spent as president of Lucasfilm, I'm sure she's going to look back at warmly and think about how wonderful it was and all the things she accomplished and how much love she felt from the audience.
And hey, in her defense, she made the studio a lot of money.
Yeah, she did.
She made 3 films in a row that all made over $1 billion. She produced, listen, whatever you think about it, she produced the highest grossing film domestically of all time. No film in history has ever made as much money as Star Wars, Force Awakens in North America.
She helped launch Disney Plus with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, she did. By the way, these are just the 8 films that she has produced that were nominated for Best Picture, okay? And there's tons of others that got lots of other awards. She produced the original film version of The Color Purple. She produced E.T. She produced The Sixth Sense. She produced Seabiscuit. She produced Munich, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Lincoln, War Horse. These are just the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
And she's made a number of other major iconic pop cultural Bible kind of films forever and all that kind of stuff. The other thing, the reason I don't like the idea of Dave Filoni, and I really like Dave. So Lucasfilm is primarily a movie studio, right? How many movies has Dave Filoni made? Anybody? None.
0.
0 movies. You would hire somebody who's made no movies to be the head of the movie studio.
Right.
Brilliant idea. And I really hope Disney is smarter than that. Again, I love him in the creative position. I love him as a creative officer. I think he can be a tremendous asset to Star Wars that way. But at any rate, Chris, you hear about this. Mm-hmm. I guess the question I didn't ask Rob, and I should have, do we believe this? Like, is she actually finally going to go? And is it time? Do you think she'll stick around longer? What do you think?
I think we're going to have a succession. But yeah, to your point and what she's actually said too, she's not retiring. She is not going to stop being a producer. She's just not going to be in this role at Lucasfilm. And I do believe that. August does seem a little earlier than what I thought. But when we were doing our, I think it was either over, under, or like more likely games, one of those, you had brought up too, like, why not leave on Andor? Why not leave on the high note? And I feel like, yeah, leave on something that is wonderful, critically acclaimed television and get out and go do those other projects then.
And she's got 2 other movies with The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter that look like they're actually happening.
Yeah.
So she greenlit those. Both of those movies are probably going to do pretty well, I would imagine.
Exactly. So end on the high. Take the win. Get out. Go do other stuff.
I mean, I still think she should have gone years ago, but
sure.
This is like, especially on the heels of Andor, which some people are saying it's one of the greatest television shows of all time now. Can't wait to start watching it tonight. Woo! You're right, Chris. That's a good time to go. That's a great time to announce. Go off with a big win. Walk off the court with 60 like Kobe did, and call it a career.
And in a way, I mean, if you think about it, they've announced that Star Wars Celebration is going to happen in April of 2027. For the 50th anniversary of Star Wars,
right,
which will happen the next month. To have a new regime coming out with, they've got Starfighter coming out. They will have already had The Mandalorian and Grogu. They're going to enter the second half century of Star Wars' life. What a way to celebrate the next 50 years with a new regime coming out with already, presumably on the heels of a win with Mandalorian and Grogu, about to release Star Wars Starfighter with Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling. What a great way to begin a new era.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Following on the heels of the report from Deadline a couple of months ago that Kathleen Kennedy would be stepping down before the end of the year, now comes this report that the actual circle date on the calendar is August. That would tell me that they've already got somebody else in line and ready to come. Maybe they got to wait for them till August for them to finish whatever job they're doing somewhere else. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you agree with me that this probably should have happened in many years ago? Or do you think this is the perfect time? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.